Am I the asshole for bringing up CPS? I-21NB, went home to visit family, M46, F46, F8, F8, this weekend. One sister, we will call her Eva, has very thick and curly hair, easily knotted. Last year, my mom had a surgery on her hands that prevented her from brushing my sister's hair. Eva was told by Dad to brush her own hair and didn't really check on it. Evidently, she had unbrushed the top of her head and pushed all the knots to the back of her head, leaving a big knot. I brought up when it happened that it needed to be brushed out and that I would be happy to help, but was refused multiple times by both my parents and my sister. They spent an hour every night after my mom was cleared trying to get it out, but no success. I suggested going to a hair salon to see what they could do. They did have months of pestering, and they said it would take multiple sessions and they just didn't do it. Not sure why. I don't know what they've been doing since. Fast forward to this weekend. The knot is now basically her whole head minus some at the front and bottom. It's one thick matted mess. It has officially been over a year since the original incident. Eva has been in school with it, gone to soccer games and events with it. She is touchy whenever it is brought up, as are my parents. Last time I confronted my mom and asked her why it was still there, it didn't go well, so I talked to my stepdad. I rehearsed what I would say with my partner. I am saying this not as a judgment of your or mom's parenting, but out of concern and with consideration of an outside perspective. If someone were to look at Eva from the outside, they would think she is neglected. I wasn't given any response and we sat in silence until he said, "Are you waiting for something?" I said yeah, a response. He said, "I don't know what you want me to do, I'm not in charge of their hair." I said maybe talk to mom because they are your children. He didn't really answer, and that's when I brought up that she is going into a new school year and what if CPS is called. He basically responded that it wouldn't happen and that's how it ended. I drove home, got a text from my mom saying she was fuming about the CPS statement. I think I may be the asshole by bringing CPS up and insinuating that we're neglectful, bad parents. Too long did not read. Sister has severely matted hair for over a year. I brought it up again and said that CPS have been called for similar situations. Wasn't received well. Am I the asshole? Update. I talked to my aunt who had visited recently. She said she was worried too and actually had to ask my grandmother about how to handle Eva because she was so mean to her. I explained about the knot and everything I knew, and asked if she would be willing to talk to my mom. She said absolutely, and that we should talk to my grandmother again to see if she can get involved as well. My mom doesn't take criticism well, if you can't tell, and my stepdad is like a protective dog who sees red when she's upset. At least me and my aunt, uncle, cousins are gonna talk. Hopefully we can loop my grandparents into it too and stage some sort of intervention, for lack of a better term. This is the last chance I'm giving my parents before CPS, and I'll have police escort me into my house to get my sister to a hair salon or something if I need to. I've been beyond pissed at them for over a year, and the fact that I've let it slide this long is unacceptable on my part. If push comes to shove, my partner and I are fully prepared to take them in until my parents get their act together. Not the asshole for bringing it up. You didn't even imply you'd be the one calling. The reality is a new teacher at a new school would probably contact CPS about neglect because they're a mandated reporter. The silver lining is that they'll actually parent properly and teach the kid hygiene. Not the asshole. That is neglect. Ignoring it isn't going to make it go away. What are they waiting on? Are they planning on shaving her head bald? I feel so bad for your sister, I'd say bring her on over and well make a night of it. Slowly combing it out with tons of conditioner. NTA. Your concerns are valid. My oldest is 16 and last year CPS had a home visit simply cause he was wearing his torn up shoes instead of the new ones to school simply cause he still liked them. It's not like we were neglecting him and they could see it at home, but his teacher was still concerned. Not the asshole, yours is an actual concern. If they can't bother to brush her hair, what else are they neglecting that you can't see? Maybe they're more pissed at the thought that you might be the one to call CPS? My sister's nephews 5 and 3 sadistically drowned their puppy when unsupervised and she told my mom not to tell anyone. My mom told my other sister who called CPS. My sister got mad. Like, WTF? Yeah, you're making a good point. It's been over a year and this poor child is suffering from something that was preventable. Not the asshole. Isn't horrible hair like that neglect? I'm surprised CPS hasn't been called yet. That poor girl must feel embarrassed by her hair. Not the asshole if your sister's hair has become one giant matted knot, her hygiene needs are being neglected. Not the asshole at this point, it might be a better idea to offer to take her for a haircut. They have to understand that you want to help. Not the asshole. Poor girl is probably going to have to shave her head. Honestly, you should probably make an anonymous call to CPS, because if they are neglecting her hair, then she's probably being neglected in our ways too. Am I the asshole for not giving a present to my son at his brother's birthday celebrations? My Phil doesn't like my youngest son, T. He's made it clear that I shouldn't have had a second child. I ruined my oldest son, N. life with a sibling. If I didn't have a second, I would be a fully devoted mother to N. His only priority in life is N. He spoils N with lots of food, treats, gifts. He completely ignores T when he begrudgingly spends time with T. He throws in an insult. He says he's odd, strange, looks funny, and his school reports will say, "This kid is a weirdo." My Phil says he couldn't find T a first birthday present, and do I have one in the emergency present cue board? I buy gifts on sale, if I like them or just with someone in mind. It's not really for my boys. I try give them what they like at that time. I dig deep and find one, kinda okay, but it's a toy he can share with N3. When they get older they likely won't share, but today and this gift, it's shared. It's a wooden block with pegged animals you put in the holes. Phil leaves the present in my kitchen. Okay, maybe he doesn't like it. The next evening Phil comes for the birthday celebration, song, present and cake. He walks in with a gift. Yay, he found something during the day. But he says it's for N. I'm confused. He didn't buy T a birthday present but buys N one. I swiftly put it out of N's sight. We sing, cut cake, open the emergency present. Both kids open it, they play, it's chaos and lots of grabbing. They are 1 and 3, after all. Phil goes to retrieve the other present, amazing car transporter truck with metal cars, much nicer gift than the emergency gift. I say no, he is getting it tomorrow. It's not unusual for me to space gifts out over days, but I'm properly furious that Phil didn't buy T a birthday present. He bought N a present on T's birthday but not T seriously. We are politely going back and forth with me hiding the present and Phil trying to give it to N. N is so wrapped up in the other gift, he doesn't notice. I shut it down. N will get it tomorrow. Significant other jays the message to stay out of it. Phil storms out. My Phil didn't buy T a gift at N's birthday celebrations, so he's not treating them fair. He bought N a nice birthday gift. Made it clear it was for N only. Snatched it away from T and held him away if he came towards the gift. I had to put a stop to that. I get it's a nice idea for kids to get gifts on each other's birthday, but he didn't buy 2 gifts, he bought one. N will get the gift today, just not on T's birthday. My FLL's behavior towards T is completely unacceptable and I'm always having to put him in his place, protect T, diffuse situations, try make it fair and always alert with my Phil. I think this was one of those situations that I had to stop my Phil showing blatant favoritism. Even if it's only us battling it out over what significant other calls petty, I still feel the small fights will hopefully lead to Phil changing. For now the kids don't know better, but they will. My significant other says afterwards, I'm the asshole and should have just given N the gift, it doesn't matter. Keep the peace. Am I the asshole? Edit. Significant other didn't know the history of the gifts. He saw 2 gifts, thought one for each boy from their grandfather and didn't think much of it. Phil really behaves himself in front of significant other, and significant other has never seen Phil's favoritism or anything negative towards T. He is aware and knows I keep minimal contact with Phil but has stepped in when I needed him to. After I explained that I bought the birthday gift, significant other had admitted that his father was showing favoritism and he will talk to him tonight. Not the asshole. Phil is a massive asshole and I'm not impressed with your significant other either. Although I guess if he was raised with this bull, maybe he needs some help figuring out what's acceptable. Not the asshole for the gift situation, but you absolutely are for allowing T to be treated like this. You need to put your foot down for them to be treated 100% equal, or Phil gets to not be in any of y'all's life. T didn't ask to be here. You and your hubby chose to have him and are allowing him to be treated like this for what? So N can have great presence and relationship with Phil? Fix it or you will lose T as soon as he's 18. You're Phil mostly, but you and your significant other need to talk about this issue and be on the same page, and your plan to rectify the situation with a series of small fights, which will hopefully lead to Phil changing, is, at best, pretty optimistic. At worst it's a pattern of conflict on both sides that's going to erode several relationships and be obvious to your children. Everyone sucks here. Your Phil for obvious reasons and you and your sa for allowing this to go on for so long. Seems like Phil needs to be kept away from both kids for their own good. Put your foot down for your kids. Info. I'm really confused about what's going on here. Whose birthday is it? I don't get gifts for my other kids if it's not their birthday. If they share a birthday and a party, they should each get a gift. If it's T's birthday and not N's, your dad is definitely the asshole and you're not the asshole. You and your hubby should really be setting boundaries together with your Phil, because unless you put a stop to the favoritism right now, it will continue. I'd quit exposing your kids to this toxic behavior. Phil shouldn't be allowed over until he can straighten up his act. Not the asshole. Your Phil has some serious issues. And he surely won't learn from your confrontations. Sorry. Maybe tell him an ultimatum. Either treat them equally or don't see any of them. But first you have to get on the same page with your so. Not the asshole. You have a serious looming problem with your so. The two of you need to be on the same page around FIL's different treatment of your boys. My spider sense is tingling and telling me that you will have a serious problem in the longer term if you don't set some boundaries around acceptable behavior from your Phil around T. Blatant favoritism is awful and so damaging. 1. Significant other aligned in thinking. 2. Set boundaries. 3. Enforce said boundaries. 4. Do not deviate from plan. This is for the benefit of the ongoing relationship with Phil for you, significant other and both your sons. Your Phil is a major awe. Your significant other WBTAH if he doesn't move on from, keep the peace, and support your efforts for equity for T. Esh. Your Phil for obvious reasons. And your significant other and you are also Oz for still allowing him to see your children when he behaves so horribly towards T. You need to protect your children from him. His behavior is going to destroy T's confidence and give N an entitled attitude. Do you really want to allow him to drive a wedge in your family? Either he treats both kids appropriately or he doesn't see them. Full stop. Am I the asshole for being against my fiance always giving away money to her sister? Throwaway. Hello. My 25 female fiance, 26 female, and I have been together for 6 years and last year we got engaged. My fiance's middle sister was really lovely when I first met her, but let's say she's the favorite child and everyone will bend over to make her any favors. Everything she asks she must have it. My fiance has 2 older sister and now we're gonna focus to the middle sister 2, 29 female, let's say. Sister 2 is always babied by everyone. By mother, sister 1, 32 female, and even other relatives. My Phil though, my fiance's dad, thinks all this babying is not normal. Few examples I'll mention of sister 2 is that she wanted a PC setup that cost over $3,000 but despite the fact she has a stable income she didn't want to pay for it straight away and demanded other people pay for it. She'd always complain about how her sisters make money and should help her out buy her PC. My fiancé helped her along with sis 1 and got her the PC. Now sister 2 owes both of them $3,000, $1,500 to my fiancé and $1,500 to sister 1. It's been 2 years since the PC was bought and the money has not been given back to the sisters despite that being the AG agreement. That the sisters will help but she'll have to pay the money back and that the PC is not a gift. And she said okay. Example 2 is when my fiancé decided to propose to me, she did that with a very expensive ring. Sister 2 complained about the price of the ring my fiancé spent money on because she thinks that money could go to fund her new studio setup. My fiancé said proposing to me was more important than sister 2's studio set and that sister 2 still owes money so she shouldn't expect more. Have many more examples like these but I'll mention the most recent one. Sister 2 wants to buy a Tesla car which is obviously pricey. Fiancé and I are planning to buy a house in September and we already have our funds aside. Sister 2 expects fiancé to give her money out of our house funds to help her buy a Tesla. Fiancé was thinking about it but I was not having it. Told my fiancé she can always give away money to her sister whenever she demands it and that as a couple who's planning to get married and we now have our finances together she should consult me on that stuff. I told her that her sister is spoiled and has never paid a penny back from what she's borrowed and refuses to pay even for groceries in her own house. I'd have no problem giving money to sister 2 if it was for an emergency but a Tesla car, a studio and a $3,000 PC don't seem like emergencies to me. Fiancé agreed with me and said she won't give her any more money. My mill then called fiancé and told her she's heartless for not helping out her sister. Fiance told her that building a future with me is more important, and Mill said that family comes first, and last time she checked sister 2 is fiance's family, not me. So am I the asshole for interfering with their family matters when it's not my place? Edit. I want to mention that both our families are very supportive of our relationship and have no issue with us being lesbians. Sister 2 is also bisexual, so our sexualities are not the reason our relationship was so easily dismissed. Mill said that family comes first, and last time she checked sister 2 is fiance's family, not me. Guess she needs to check again then, since a fiance is the family you choose. Not the asshole. Sister 2 expects fiance to give her money out of our house funds to help her buy a Tesla. Excuse me, what? Not the asshole, op. And your fiance should perhaps consider going to therapy to work on the situation your parents forced on her. Having a golden child in the family screws all relationships and not only spoils one child but also messes up the other's self-worth. The fact that your fiancé even considered such a thing is a problem. And if her family thinks it's normal to do that, perhaps going LC for a time might help fiancé get her bearings straight. Not the asshole. Your fiancé's sister is a spoiled brat. The level of entitlement is sickening, and your fiancé actually considering paying is terrible. And the fact that your fiancé's sister has a job yet refuses to pay for her own SHT, is tragically comical. Not the asshole. That whole family is enabling her, minus Phil. Seriously, she's a grown-ass woman who needs to deal with stuff on her own. She's not a child. $5 says she still has your Mill make her doctors and dentist appointments too? Honestly, fiancé is your family now, and it most certainly is your place to chime in when it concerns your joint finances. Kudos to your fiancé for putting her foot down. Just keep encouraging her to do the right thing. Mill said that family comes first. Not the asshole. The blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb. Sister 2 is spoilt little shit and does not deserve anything. She should pay back that initial $1,500 plus interest. NTA, not a penny will ever be paid back. Your fiancé's family is using financial abuse and triangulation to control her. Every request for money is an exercise in control. And they really are laughing behind her back every time she gives them what they want. They will keep asking for more. It's your job to protect your fiancé. Start by reading Bowen's family systems theory and get her into therapy. I'm sorry, but the goal is to make your fiancé destitute so sister can feel good about herself. Absolutely not the asshole. Great for you and fiancé to start with these boundaries and make it clear to sister 2 that the gravy train stops here and now. You have your own lives to lead and pay for, and sister 2 needs to pull her head in. I believe the family will come around once your boundaries are set. Info: are you planning to combine bank accounts, and is the money that your fiancé is potentially giving to her sister coming from a shared account or her own separate account? Will the amount she potentially gives her sister be deducted from the amount that is going to the house down payment, or just out of your fiancé's saving that is separate from that? Am I the asshole for informing a parent that their kid was being bullied before they decided to be friends? I, 22 female, work at an expensive gym that has childcare available. We have a bunch of new rules and guidelines because of COVID. Info: you need to understand the situation. I had my group of kids aged 7-11 and we were playing a game called Army Navy. Alex, 9, fake name, came in and immediately was not listening. During the game he was getting in people's faces, not allowed, social distancing, and was repeatedly told we were not allowed to do that. He kept whining, saying that he always played the game that way, but the other children were visibly uncomfortable and upset by his yelling and getting in their face, especially Tony, 8, fake name. Alex ended up getting upset that Tony tattled on him and informed me Alex was continuing to get in his face after I told him no, and pretended to smack him in the face. Tony cried. Alex had to sit down and we talked about why that's not okay. Eventually Tony and Alex got along and played together. They swapped Fortnite, PS4 names, and their parents came to get them around the same time. Tony told his parents he made a friend. His parents were happy until Tony said something about how Alex made him cry, but he forgave him, so it's okay. His parents asked me what happened, so I explained to both Tony and Alex's parents what happened. Tony's family was visibly upset and thanked me for telling them. When Tony and his parents left, Alex and his parents were mad at me for telling the other family what happened and said I ruined Alex's new friendship. Am I the asshole? Info. 1. I didn't have enough characters to add this originally, but Alex did continue to bother Tony by getting in his face and acting aggressive. Tony informed me he was upset and Alex was upset that Tony told on him and started singing a tattletale song and calling him a cry-baby and other names. One of my coworkers said Alex tried to trip Tony while we were playing tag, but I didn't see that so I didn't add that. They didn't make up until the end of the day. 2. I kept the entire explanation to a minimum to try and avoid it escalating, and I made sure to emphasize Alex apologized and they did start to get along and exchanged information to play Fortnite together. 3. Tony's parents have a habit of getting upset with very small things when it comes to Tony. Even when someone shushed him last week they were slightly upset, so them reacting the way they did was not surprising. 4. I do not try to helicopter parent anyone. I have to have detailed responses for every parent regarding their child's day. It's literally my job. 5. Tony has a history of telling his parents everything, so I wanted his parents to hear everything that went on from me so they wouldn't call and complain to my manager. Again, I did try and keep it minimal without leaving anything out. 6. I say bullying only because my job classifies it as that and has specific paperwork for it. I did not write him up because I had never seen him before, and I try to avoid writing kids up if it's a one-off. He did have 6 previous write-ups, my manager informed me when we were talking about the situation. Not the asshole. The parents asked and you answered. Alex and his parents were upset because they know that Alex was misbehaving and didn't like it becoming public knowledge. That's not your fault. Kids need to learn that bullying is not okay. Not the asshole. It's not like you spilled the beans. The kid basically said, "He made me cry," so of course the parents are going to want the details. If he had tripped and fallen on him, that's one thing, this is something else. You very likely saved that kid from a very one-sided, abusive friendship that could have shaped the way he sees relationships for his entire young adult life. Based on his parents' reaction, they likely are raising a bully and don't care. Not the asshole. As a childcare worker too, better to disclose all that to parents when they ask than keep it a secret. Doesn't seem like a good look to Tony's parents to lie or keep quiet about the other kid making Tony cry. Not the asshole. You don't get to decide Tony's folks' reaction to what happened, and you didn't even bring it up in the first place. What did Alex's parents want you to do? Lie? Tell Tony's parents that their kid was lying about what happened or mistook the situation. Not the asshole. As a parent, I'd want to know if my child was being bullied, and I'd equally want to be told if they were bullying another child so that I could intervene and stop it from happening. There's no way you could have done this without informing both sets of parents. Not the asshole. What is wrong with people blaming the messenger? Their kid was out of line, got caught, learned a lesson, and made a friend. You can only make that a negative experience if you are, or are raising, a narcissist. Not the asshole. My best friend, and I mean the kind of friend who if they called me at 1 a.m. and asked me to meet them and bring a shovel, I would go without asking any questions. The first time we met we fought. We have been best friends for over 50 years. Not the asshole. While some parents overreact to children's spats, it is still an important info to have.